Good morning. Thank you for joining us today for the Art of Efficiency. My name is Kate Dunn, and I'm a director with InfoTrends. InfoTrends is the leading supplier of worldwide research and strategic consulting for the imaging, document solutions, production print, and digital media industries. We provide insights and advice to help clients understand market trends, identify opportunities, and grow their business. We've been invited today by Today's Graphics, or TGI Inc., to share a little bit of information on what is going on with marketers and how they're looking at managing their supply chain more efficiently and more effectively. So let's get started today. Okay, somebody is making a heck of a lot of noise. Okay. Our topics today are, we're going to talk about exactly what is the marketing supply chain, why managing the marketing supply chain is so important to businesses today. And we have some guests with us, Greg Braun, who's the Vice President of Marketing for TGI. And then a terrific treat for us today is Glenn Paparello, Vice President of Marketing for Foremost, which is a leading retailer in the kitchen bath industry. And they're going to actually share with us today a success that they've developed in managing their own supply chain. And as we always like to do, we like to leave people with a summary and some next steps that they can use to try to attack their own supply chain system and drive more efficiency for their marketing documents and collateral. So let's just start out with what exactly is the marketing supply chain. It sounds so simple, but it's really a chain of suppliers that organization relies on to produce all of their marketing materials, from print and promotional products, even direct mail and point of sale signage. They use all of these products to effectively market their business. Just like manufacturing has a supply chain made up of components for building products, marketing has a supply chain for providing and distributing these products into their channels, direct sales, distributors, or agents, with the right type of content for each specific use. Manufacturers have understood and built out disciplines that link the delivery of the right components at the right time to minimize inventory, reduce obsolescence, and the overall cost associated with managing a large number of suppliers. The same discipline needs to be applied to the management of sales support materials to optimize marketing spend and return on overall marketing investment. Right now, there is little, if any, discipline in that management supply chain across a vast number of organizations in our business community today. So it can kind of look like, and maybe some of us on the call today have tried mapping out what their marketing supply chain looks like. And it might actually look something like this. It's a lot more complex than it at first appears. It's comprised of numerous partners inside and outside of the organization, including brand managers, the marketing services department within their own company or as an outside provider, agencies, direct sales teams, buyers, printers, fulfillment houses, the list goes on and on. And they're all kind of interconnected through complex relationships with little to no measurement or efficiency often. Let's repeat that last phrase because it's really critical. Most organizations really haven't looked at this in an effort to make it more efficient and also to make the documents within the supply chain as effective as possible. So the current state for a lot of organizations out there is the kind of chaos that you see on your screen right now. I can go. Okay. So now let's look at actually some facts and figures that will help you kind of wrap your arms around this. If you look at the left hand of the screen, what I like to make note of when I look at this is that if you add up all those numbers above starting with the orange bar, more than 60% of the organizations out there spend at least 20 to 30% of their budget on marketing materials. And you can see as the lines above the orange bar there, that quite a few are spending even more than that. 9% spend more than 60% of their entire marketing budget on marketing materials. Now, what are they producing? You can look at the other side of the screen, the right side of the screen. 84% of that money is spent on print collateral. 72% of organizations are using presentations, folders and handouts, direct mail, product documentation, signage, and you can see the list goes on and on to include even point of sale display items, packaging and inserts, samples, print coupons, and all those type of things that they are used within a sales process or a marketing process to get a customer excited about the company and ultimately lead to purchase and then repeat purchases. So basically, over many years, many of us have probably seen this slide, the infamous iceberg. But what it indicates here is really a critical point, which is the amount that you pay maybe to an external vendor who's doing your printing represents only between 6 and 10% of the total amount that organizations are paying, are spending to manage their supply chain. The other costs inside of that, procurement management, fulfillment, customization, version control, shipping, sales delays, inventory management, all those things kind of are beneath the waterline. And organizations are starting to say, hey, there's where the real opportunity lies in making our supply chain more efficient. And Infotrends has studied this as well as the CMO Council and come away with some really startling facts about that marketing supply chain and really where the opportunity lies. 78% of the CMOs who were surveyed said they have closets or warehouses full of old materials. And it's important to note the closet aspect of that too. So this runs all the way down to small and mid-sized businesses and all the way up to the large enterprises in our country or internationally even. 84% have sent out outdated materials because of the slow or inaccurate internal supply chain. 33% are saying that they really don't have a good handle on their inventory management, and 55% said that they don't have real-time access to that inventory. So they can't see what's going on in terms of what's sitting in the warehouse or how it's being utilized in any type of a real-time basis. So what does that really mean? And these statistics are really kind of startling, but we should look at this as here's the opportunity that we can explore and develop within our own organizations. 50% of the spending that is associated with that marketing materials that we just looked at. So let's take a company that's spending, and I'll just use round numbers here, $100,000 marketing budget. That means that somewhere between 20 and 30,000 of that is tied up in marketing collateral, and 50% of that spend is really taking place in things like product obsolescence and from activities such as storage, fulfillment, shipping, and inventory management. So lots of opportunity outside within that collateral management supply chain. 25% of marketers have looked at their supply chain comprehensively and analyzed the costs and processes and found the places where they think they can get more efficient. But only 11% of them have actually said, okay, let's fix the thing, and implemented new workflow systems that can reduce costs and efficiency within that supply chain. And we're going to hear from one who has in a few minutes. So another really critical aspect of that study by the CMO Council revealed that 20% of marketing materials are typically lost to obsolescence. And as the rate at which we're conducting business and the world is changing out there continues to accelerate, if we don't get a handle on that, that number is going to increase. So now, thinking about your marketing materials, this was another survey done by Infotrends. We asked marketers what percentage is used often, seldom used, stored for later, or thrown out. And you can see by these statistics that all the way down to 23% saying more than 50% falls into that category. And you can see how that splits up. So again, this just reinforces that we have a lot of opportunity in here if we can wrap our arms around it. Now, my next slide, I just want to kind of break down and give you an idea of what the cost is on the people side of this. And this is just a typical example of what the people cost inside of this process might look like. So if an organization, for instance, has 100 salespeople or sales partners, and each of them is making a request once a week. for some type of material. That's going to mean that there's 5,200 annual requests. The average processing time, and we've studied this for people handling requests and turning them around, is about 20 minutes, meaning that the total annual requests, for processing hours throughout the year is going to top 1,700 hours. So let's say this person's making $45,000. They have a labor burden percentage of 20%, so their real cost is somewhere in the ballpark of $54,000. That means that they're making we can charge $26 an hour for that cost. And if you look at that and roll it all up, then the processing of just one request from someone in the field once a week is really topping more than $45,000 a year in this one example. So that gives you a handle on just the people opportunity, and imagine that stretched out across your creative team, the people working in your warehouse, the people working in shipping, and you begin to see just how much that people cost adds up to. So what can marketers do? What are the best ways marketers can improve the impact and the value of their marketing consumables? And we asked marketers to select their top 5, and you can see how that breaks out here. So they want timely delivery and access to their content. Makes sense. They want fresh content that's up to date and accurate, and our supply chains really make that very difficult to do. So that's why they're asking for a refresh on that content, more relevant content, and an easier way to do it. And they want to be able to access that content and customize it to their specific needs, because there's a lot of cost wrapped up in the customization for regions, geographical areas, dealers, franchisees, any of the people that have to take content created by the original enterprise and repurpose it for their own needs. And consistent content that would include all the things that they need to really be more effective salesperson. And then they'd also like, sort of on the Amazon model, some recommendations conceivably for other collateral that they might be able to use. So here's another question that we asked them. What forces and factors are driving the need for tighter marketing supply control, integration, and accountability? And this time they could select only 3, but you can see 61% said we're seeking to realize greater efficiency and cost savings. And I think this goes back to the fact that, post 2008, we did what was relatively easy to do, which is cut out things, move things to digital delivery. But now we're saying, you know what, there's really opportunity, and diving in a little deeper here and looking at what the process is that goes on around their marketing supply chain. So they want, and I think the next bullet there, the green bullet, is basically saying, not only do I want greater efficiency and cost savings, I want the documents that I can get that way to be more relevant and more effective. So inside of all this, the more you make things relevant, the more you can have material obsolescence, because the rate of the way things are changing in today's world. So obsolescence is a top challenge for marketers. It drives rampant ordering, or our current process drives rampant ordering or stockpiling of marketing materials in the field by sales reps. And you can probably all think about, the quintessential sales rep running around with brochures in the back seat of his car, getting trampled on, and then he needs one for a customer. So the current process is really driving sort of chaos like that. Everybody wants timely delivery and fresh content, but they need to be able to get that as efficiently as possible. And then from the management side, we want to be able to really look at that usage and ordering, what documents are being ordered, who's using them, and then be able to tie that back to, are the people using them selling more? And so you can begin to develop best practices and take them across the entire enterprise. So we're seeing a movement to web-enabled solutions that can help you do that. And in just a minute, Greg and Glenn are going to tell us about a real-life example of how that worked for them. Another key element is also the battle to control branding, because we spend a lot of money on that brand image, and we want it to be to get our ROI on that. So controlling that brand, making sure that all the materials that are out there are following the right rules and delivering on that brand promise that we spent so much money developing. It needs to be consistent, and it needs to be easily consistent and easy to match those brand standards. Because when it's not, and you can't control that, you don't get the ROI on what you've spent on the branding to begin with. And you also have some issues that can crop up from unauthorized creation of marketing materials or renegade purchasing of marketing materials, which is going to also add to your overall costs and reduce your ROI. So a clear picture is beginning to develop of what has value in the field for the people in the field, and that's quickly seeing what marketing assets are available, and also now beginning to link that to the sales stage so that the people in the field know what documents, what collateral they should be using at key intervals in the sales cycle. They want to be able to easily determine what marketing assets are being used and when from the management side so they can be more effective in what they develop. They want to be able to look at current and future content development strategies based on what they're seeing through this usage and measure the contribution and the utilization of the sales and marketing materials to actually close deals. Imagine that, because that allows us to be even smarter about what we're doing, use our money more wisely, improve our ROI, and actually drive revenue. So in short, marketers need to optimize the marketing dollars, try to ensure that effort is driving the results that they want, seek to get rid of that very costly obsolescence that's currently in the supply chain, but do it in a way that helps maintain the brand consistency. And when you can't do this yourself, there's always an opportunity to turn to experts for help. So just in summary here, streamlining the customization processes. These are the elements of that supply chain that can give you the best bang for your buck. So streamlining the customization process so that people can get your people in your channel can get exactly what they need when they need it and relevant to their own needs. Looking at web-enabled ordering procedures that take waste out of the process, make sure that the brand can be consistent and give management the tracking that they need. Getting rid of people touching the process. We saw an example earlier of really how much money that adds to your cost. Reducing obsolescence, improving the ability to control the inventory that they have, know what they have, what's left real time. Improve that ability to have to control the brand, give their channels faster response time, make sure that everybody's getting consistent quality, and then inside of this is the ability to make all those documents even more effective because they're customized and relevant and on time. So that allows you to improve sales, generate revenue. So you're really getting the best of both worlds, improve sales, greater cost savings, and that's going to lead you to improved return on your marketing investment. So what we're talking about here is developing company portals that will allow end users and even just the marketing department to customize, order, track, and analyze the success of what they're doing with their collateral as efficiently and effectively as possible. So now I'm going to turn it over to Greg Braun. So Greg, I'm going to give you control of the screen. And Greg is going to tell us about how TGI has been able to help one of its clients do just exactly what we've been talking about. So Greg, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me, Kate?
I sure can. So I'm
Fantastic. Thanks so much. That was a great introduction, and the stats were exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I know Glenn and I can relate a lot to the cost of processing, a lot of the other things that you mentioned in your talking points there. Let me show my screen, and we can move on here.
Okay, we can see it, Greg.
Can you see my screen? Yes.
We sure can.
Okay, fantastic. Just a little background. I know a lot of people on the call today. I recognize a lot of your names, so some of you may know me, others may not. I've been working with TGI, designing storefronts for a number of years. I started with TGI back in '98, 15 years ago, believe it or not. And TGI has been designing storefronts for the last almost 10 years now. And something that I thought you brought up, Kate, that was real important was the ease of use. And you had mentioned Amazon. I always like to bring up the Amazon story because it's just such a talk about the art of efficiency. There's the art of efficiency with Amazon. And back when Amazon started making a profit back in 2001 is really when you started to see people gravitate toward this technology. And as you can see, like back in 2007, I think Amazon had about 68 million customers, and in 5 years it grew over to 2 million customers. So those people, those customers that were shopping on Amazon, love to see that experience and could relate to what we're doing here. And Glenn will talk about that in a few minutes. But just to give you a little background there about the storefronts and why we've seen in the last 2 years a real push for storefronts. We've seen more growth. TGI has seen more growth in the last 2 years than we did the previous 8 years. So I think that's pretty important. I helped design the brand Marcor name that we use. That's a TGI trademark name. Some of you may know it, others may not. And we've developed I've helped develop over 40 portals. The company has developed over 50 customized sites. And these sites range from very simple to very complex. Today we're going to talk a little bit with Glenn. And Glenn's site is a smaller site, but he's been willing to share it with us and tell a little bit about the background and some of the things that we do with Glenn on showing some of the sites. TGI has a library of over 20,000 templates. These are over our 50 different sites. We have sites that have as few as maybe 8 products, and we have ones that have over 7,000 products. So we have a big range of companies that we deal with and portals that we deal with. And we're very adept at the personalization aspect of it. We have one site that is very sophisticated with the personalization. A customer could go in or a sales rep could go in, and they can customize a piece specifically for a customer. So they go in there, they'll say what the product is, how it relates to that specific customer. It's very intricate and very detailed. So TGI is very experienced at the level of personalization that's out there. And we specialize in the pharmaceutical, financial, healthcare, manufacturing, professional services. Glenn will talk to you about the manufacturing part of the business and what his business does in a few minutes. One of the things that I think is important is to see what we're currently doing and what we're going to be doing in the future. I think this is a pretty critical part of our business is the ability to see the sites as very user-friendly. So again, the business of Amazon and using the Amazon model. Again, we'll talk a little bit, Glenn will talk a little bit about the training. And it's funny, the training, I think, over the last few years has becoming less intense because people are so experienced with ordering online, and our portals are very user-friendly. So that's a great aspect of what Amazon has done to the business and to the B2B business. The B2C, Amazon is B2C, but the B2B business has really embraced this technology. Integration is, I think, is something that's real important in 2013 today. We're doing this more and more with customers, and we'll be seeing this in the future. The integration with CRM systems, the Salesforce.com of the world, all the other types of CRMs that have that critical data that's in there, we can use that data to send personalized and customized pieces, whether it be direct mail, whether it be HTML language, whether it be PDFs. This can all be integrated with your CRM systems. So that's a big part of what we're doing now and what we'll be doing in the years to come. Cross-media is another aspect. Everyone's familiar with what Facebook is doing and LinkedIn, and the ability to go through these multiple channels and disseminate this information is critical to the infrastructure of a portal today. And that's something that we're currently doing and will be doing more intensely in the next couple of years. Electronic communications, again, that's a lot of different areas for where the electronics, whether it's email blasts, whether it's integrating into a system like this, into a portal. It's something that will happen in the next couple of years, and it's happening now. HTML processing. This is something newer where you can actually create HTML. The HTML then can be processed, sent out in newsletters, things like that. A lot of the franchises of the world are asking for this technology, because they're sending out things on a regular basis. Also incorporating video, personalized video into the portals. A new process also. And PDF formatting, that's something that we've done in the past and will continue to do in the future. Improving the efficiencies, again, easy to use portals, simple navigation, that's real important for portal technology. Ordering is easy, checkout is easy, a good variety of products, exceptional delivery. These are all things, again, I think that Amazon has really put forth. And they've changed the business world in that people expect this. I know Amazon just recently said now they're doing not just next day delivery, but same day delivery. They're putting these warehouses in people's backyards. I know over here in New Jersey they have a site. In Pennsylvania they have a facility. So they're even stepping up the game where that's being delivered, very rapidly. So all those things are what people now expect when they're ordering online. And superior management tools. We'll talk a little bit about the management tools that we offer. And again, it's a critical component of the systems that we operate. Critical reports, user data, inventory controls. These are the things that are important to management. And when we talk about the art of efficiency, it's the management side of things that's important. And Glenn will talk a little bit about what we've done with him and his company, and foremost in managing and controlling their product and how we report back to them who's using it and when they're using it. Email integration. I talked a little bit about that, and integration with the CRM system. All important to the efficiency and effectiveness. Now I'll turn it over to Glenn. Glenn, I'll control the screen so you can talk a little bit about Foremost and what we've done with you.
Thanks, Greg. Again, my name is Glenn Paparolo. I'm the Vice President of Marketing for Foremost, the kitchen and bath division. And I've been with the company for just about 10 years. The products that we manufacture bathroom vanities. We also manufacture vitreous china tops, granite tops, vitreous china toilets, and also shower doors. Our headquarters is in East Hanover, New Jersey. We distribute out of New Jersey, Hobart, Indiana, and Woodland, California. We have about 100 employees in the States, but when I look at how many employees that we have overseas, because we also own our own factories for wood manufacturing and toilet seat manufacturing and also vitreous china manufacturing overseas, we're in the thousands. I think altogether we probably have about 10 to 12 million square feet of manufacturing overseas. We sell through both distribution and retail. Some of our major accounts are Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, the largest home centers in the world. And we also sell through distribution, such as Ferguson's, Home Depot Supply, and online with Amazon, Build.com, and such. So we have a very extensive distribution network in the country. And it's constantly growing, and we've experienced probably the best year that we've had in the last 6 years. Want to go to the next slide, Greg?
Great, Glenn. Well, let's talk a little bit about what we've done before TGI stepped in and worked with you on the marketing portal. Let's talk a little bit about the background and
Sure.
where you were. And
Well, I wish that image that you have there was a representation of what we had a few years ago, because what we had for our location for marketing materials were 2 10-by-12 storage sheds in our warehouse. We had all of our inventory was online, and not one piece was accurate. What we had was, again, we would have orders that would come in or requests from our sales rep or from the field, and we would enter those orders into the system and then actually pray that we had the inventory available to ship out. What we were running into where we would get phone calls at the end of the day. The orders would not get entered into the system, but the individual would take it upon themselves to actually go out into the warehouse or in the shed to pick the materials and ship them out. So it wasn't being deducted from inventory, so it was never accurate. We would place orders for material, have it shipped into the warehouse. If we were fortunate enough, they put it into the shed and they entered it into inventory. In some instances, it would just get put onto the racking in the warehouse. So at the time when we had trade shows or needed to send materials out to our customers, we would go looking for it in the shed, checking inventory, and couldn't find it. Eventually, somebody would stumble across it, put it into inventory, but at that time, it really did us no good. So needless to say, it was really, really a nightmare to keep track of any of our inventory. What we also ran into was, and again, Kate did a great job of pretty much giving a case study of foremost at the beginning of the presentation, was the amount of obsolete material that we had. We would get in new material that would replace the outdated material that we had in the warehouse, but what happened was is we were getting individuals that just didn't want to throw away the old stuff because they were saving money by sending that information and materials out, and they were really doing us an injustice because literature was going out that had obsolete products in it, wrong pricing. So it was causing a lot of issues with the distribution channel, with our sales folks, and again, it was just kind of an absolute nightmare for us. So needless to say, we needed to make changes.
Right, Glenn, and that's where we. I remember one of the quotes that you said. Well, I don't know. We're kind of small for this. And it was funny that it took us a while to get you to see the value of the marketing portal.
I think we probably started talking about this. I'm going to guess Mary first presented it to us probably back in 2007 and 2008, right around that time frame. We knew we needed to do something, but again, it always came down to time, and we were getting by with what we were doing. But I think what really made us decide on really looking into this was in 2010 when we decided to go get into a real rebranding position within the company. We were introducing 2 new product lines, and we were introducing a new division, which was our shower door division. And we realized that we just couldn't operate with materials sending out the way it was going on in the past. What we were running into is when we would print materials, we'd send out distributions to the sales folks and such, and they'd give it to customers. We had no idea where it was going, and again, what we were also finding was that salespeople would call up and ask for materials. Over the course of time, if somebody left the company, they'd send the materials back, and we'd find, they'd send us 200 binders back that we had been out of stock on for a while. So there was a lot of waste of materials that we had sent out that was never being distributed, where in fact we could have used those materials for other folks that were asking for it. So as I said, it was a real nightmare for us.
Right. So we first launched our site right with you guys in June of 2011. Tell us
correct.
A little bit about that. And
yeah, we had worked for probably a good, I'm going to say about 6 months or so on the whole program, getting together. We did some webinars and meetings and such as far as how we wanted to launch this particular product to our customers or to our sales force. So what we did was we determined the materials that were going to be online. We also went out and got all of the email addresses and tried to determine who we would give access to the site. And we had, what was great about the system that was developed for us is that we have sales reps for unique markets. We have sales reps that just handle distribution for us. We have sales reps that are just work with certain accounts. Like we have a salesperson that just handles Home Depot for us. Somebody that just does Lowe's. So the way the site was developed was when they accessed it, they could only go in and see the materials that were available to their particular customers.
Right, right.
Probably, and again, the best thing for us with the whole system is that we've been able to manage the inventory. We have had no issues with running out of inventory. The inventory is always available. Our reps can go online, and our salespeople can go online and actually see the product that's available. We've established budgets for our salespeople. So just the whole system in general has just been a godsend for us because we've really been able to track the orders, the inventory, and also match up with the materials that we're sending out to our sales reps with their sales. So we've been able to put a dollar or match the dollars in materials that we're sending to these folks, in addition to matching it up with the actual sales that they're getting from it.
Fantastic.
Glenn,
Yes.
Glenn and Greg, I have a couple questions on this that I think might be helpful for our audience today. Can you give us a handle on how long it took you at working together as a team, TGI and Foremost, to plan the architecture of what your portal would look like, build, and then train your end users, Glenn?
We probably started, I believe it was January when we started, when we made the determination that this is what we were going to do. And we had an idea as to what we needed, what we wanted to present, and then it was working with Greg and the team at TGI and Kim to come up with the format and the presentation.
Okay, so I guess the moral of that story is that working together as a team, you could streamline the process.
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, we had things that we thought would work best, but again, the folks at TGI came back with a terrific solution that we've been thrilled with. I mean, it's worked great. I mean, for me, I guess the best thing for me to say is for me to go to sales meetings and not having to worry about getting beat up about not having collateral materials and catalogs is terrific. I used to dread that. I've actually been to, in the last 2 years, I think I've had one instance where somebody made a comment of not being able to access or get catalogs, and when I questioned him on it, he had no idea that we had the Marcor site because he had never looked into the emails or had participated in the training. So for us, it's been terrific.
Well, that brings up another point. So can you tell our audience a little bit about the aspects of the training that you went through?
Sure. We had got together with Greg and Kim and Marilyn Paris and put together a training program. And what we did was we developed basically just a walkthrough with how you would log into the account, how you could access the materials that were available to you, how you could order the materials. We discussed the lead time that it would take to actually ship out materials, how they would be getting, when they entered an order, they'd get an order confirmation, and how they would receive the tracking information as to when the order was shipped. So again, it's a very easy system for the salespeople to use. We had, I believe, 3 different sessions that we invited our sales reps to and management to sit through and participate in the planning and the training sessions. And again, I don't think we've had any issues with any of our reps having any issues with logging onto the system and ordering it. And we've got some reps out there that are pretty computer illiterate that have been able to handle this pretty well.
Well, that's interesting because we are finding in the research that InfoTrends does that one of the key components for success here is really thorough end user training, and not just once, but maybe having access to that via recorded training sessions, webinars, that type of thing. As you think back on the process today, you had the one guy who didn't know, but it sounds like, the vast majority was really thoroughly trained. Did you learn anything from that implementation process that you try to do better, as you continue to update or improve the site?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's been very simple to do. I should go back and tell you that one individual had only been with the company for about 30 days. So, as I mentioned earlier, it was very well received. I think as far as improving on the site, we have made some changes to it. We've changed some of the, we're always changing the contents and such, and we notify the salespeople when changes are made and such. But I think it was the launch of the whole system was done extremely well, and we really haven't had any issues with it. When we've had new people come on, they go through the demonstrations on it, and it's no problems.
Well, it's great to hear that, what the best practices that we're hearing from other marketers that they need, that you've actually implemented them and they worked as according to plan. So that's great to hear.
So this is just an example of the site when Glenn goes into it. This is the administrative portion of it, and there are a lot of products and reports and things that Glenn can access. Sometimes we'll do additional reports for Glenn and give them who's ordering, what they're ordering. So there are a lot of different reporting mechanisms to the product. So Glenn, maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of those things and what you use.
Sure, we do. And again, we have we have quite a few products on there. And what's nice about the system is that we've also been able to send down materials that we have manufactured overseas, as far as samples of granite and wood swatches and such, that we'll send down to TGI and they'll store them for us and send out from there as well, from our system. The other thing that I'd like to mention is that we've even talked about possibly using this system to send out samples of our own products going forward in the future, because it's been able to work so well for us. But as far as the reports, it's really great. Again, we're able to go in and review inventory on a daily basis. It's pretty much up to the minute as far as what's available. We can go in and, again, we've set budgets for all of our sales reps. We can go in there and modify it, update, and actually go in and take a look at who's ordering materials, where it's going, and who it's being shipped to. So it's really a great system for us to be able to manage all of our collateral materials and literature and brochures.
The budget aspect, Glenn, is something you use a lot, where each one of your distributors has a budget. You set a budget up on a quarterly basis, and
each one of our Each one of our sales reps, we go in. We did do this on a quarterly basis, and again, this has been kind of a learning process as to how we go in and manage the budgets. But what we do is we go in there and we've established the set budget depending on who the rep is and what their sales territory is, what the sales goal is. And we continuously monitor it. And we know that we have some reps that will use a lot more materials than others, only because of the clients that they have, whether it's a co-op that has 2,000 members or it's just 3 or 4 retail stores. So we've been able to keep track of all that. And again, it's really enabled us to take a look at the materials that we're sending out to the reps and whether it's being used or not. Other things that we've been able to do is that we have one of our larger home centers, Menards. We're actually set up in the system now where we have displays in the store, and they'll just send in a request to us. We forward it on to TGI, and they ship out the materials for us. It's something that we never would have been able to handle internally and foremost. And again, it helps me with the overall budgeting process, which I'm going through right now for 2014, as to what we're going to need in materials. And we've got a great history with the system, with the Markra system, is what our demand will be and what I need to budget for materials for 2014. It's made my life a lot easier with marketing expenses.
That's great.
And this next, that slide that Greg had put up, I believe if we get an order in by 2:30 or 3 o'clock, it's shipped the same day. We've got it set up to ship Federal Express, and when an order is shipped, you'll get an immediate confirmation, and then you'll get a tracking number sent to you as well. So it's really been a terrific system.
And how's that compared to what we did in the past? You did in the past, Glenn?
Oh gosh, we'd get requests, we'd send it out, and in some instances, if it was something that we had to ship overnight, we get the tracking for it. But in most instances, it was kind of you would pray that it would get there.
Yeah, right. I remember those stories.
Yeah, so do I.
The helpful hints, I think I brought this up earlier. One of the things that you had mentioned was we don't have enough activity to make this worthwhile. I remember that quote early on.
Well, I think what we found out is that we may have thought that, but that wasn't accurate, because I can see now with the amount of materials that we're sending out and that we can track, that while we may not be a large company with a lot of materials, we do ship out a lot of material to our customers and to our sales reps for distribution. And again, just being able to keep track of what we have and what's available has been terrific. We had, I believe, 2 individuals that were handling or trying to handle just the sheds and the materials that we had in our warehouse, and we've been able to take those 2 folks and put them into other projects or other work areas in the company.
That's fantastic.
So, Glenn, you mentioned when we first started that I think you were having your best year in the last 5 or so. I mean, when you really think about it, are you able to attribute some of the sales growth to those sales reps having access to the materials, or those distributors or your retailers even having access to the materials that they need when they need them?
Yeah, there's no question about it. Just with being able to send out accurate information. I mean, before, in years past, we were sending out information that had, while we may have had current products available or materials available, discontinued information was being sent out. It was causing a lot of confusion in the field. And being able to just constantly update our materials. We have binders that we send out to all of our customers. We probably send out 2,000 a year, which may not seem a lot, but for us it is. But when we make changes to it, if we discontinue a product, we can take those pages out and insert the new ones when we introduce something new. So that's really been a big help for us, especially with new product launches and such, that we can turn around and get this material out. We did a distribution to Home Depot on our shower door catalog, where we had all of their addresses and contacts sent in to us, and I think it took us probably a week or so to get everything out to every store. And it's been tremendous. Our shower door program that we have with Menards, just with the individual consumer brochures that we send out to constantly replace the displays during the stores, I believe has significantly helped increase the sales just with having that material available.
It's great to hear.
So our customers and our sales reps always have access to the latest materials. When we've had products and materials that we've been discontinuing, we just pull them right off the Marcor site, so you only have access to what's the latest information.
Right, and we're pretty much updating that. Every month we're doing some type of updating to your site, Glenn. So
we're constantly looking at it because we're always making changes.
Right. And Kate, I thought Glenn was a great representation of a company that has a distributor network, that has sales reps. Like many of our other customers, they have that distribution network that they want to get this information out to. So although Glenn's a smaller site of ours, you saw the people on there. I think we have about 40 people on the site. We have other sites that have 300-400 people on them. So it ranges in scale, but Glenn is a great representation of some of the products and things on our portals.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's backing up all of what the InfoTrends analysis is hearing from marketers, from small and mid-sized businesses, all the way up to the large enterprises. I also want to point out, now we just have a few minutes left, but if those in attendance, if you look at your webinar dashboard, you do have the ability to ask a question. And if you would like to do that, please type it in and I'll relay it to our guests today, Greg or Glenn. So I'm just going to kind of wrap it up, but please go ahead and submit those questions and we'll put them back in to the top or to our closing here. So let's just look at what companies can do to our recommendations and conclusions for moving forward. So first, get some perspective. Web enabling the marketing supply chain can give you a lot of managed benefits, and we heard from Glenn and Greg today really how effective this can be. It can help you avoid costly disasters in production of materials that are not really effective or getting the job done. It can help you reduce that administrative overhead, which allows you, and I think Glenn even mentioned, 2 people were able to be redeployed into more productive types of jobs rather than just managing the inventory out of the sheds in the warehouse. It can reduce that unnecessary inventory, and Glenn gave a great example. If what you're passing out to your customers is not current and up to date, you're basically losing sales opportunities. So there was a wonderful illustration there of how important it is to control that obsolescence and ensure that those materials aren't making it to clients. Overall, improving the whole process of your supply chain and enabling it through the internet can decrease the number of hands that have to touch collateral, and that's going to reduce costs, and it's also going to prevent spoilage and other costly things that can happen throughout the supply chain. We've talked a lot about it, but eliminating obsolete business materials, but also obsolete business processes that may have more people touching things that need to happen, or more systems integrate or relating or the relationship between the systems that you have to work with throughout your process adds cost and also time into that process. Doing so can help you reap the cost-cutting benefits and also help you, as Glenn told us, turn those documents into things that can actually produce revenue for the company and put you into a much better profitability position. It can speed up the production and responsiveness to salespeople, and I think you even have a customer service play here. Glenn, you mentioned that materials may have had not the correct pricing, and your retailers may have had to call in. That adds process, that adds costs. If there's a need to clear up any confusion because those materials aren't current, up to date, and have accurate information. So ultimately here we're looking at not only giving your distributors, your sales team, your retail outlets, whatever channels you use, the right type of documents to help them grow sales, but also efficient processes that can cut these extra costs out of the process and really give you that return, an increased return on your marketing investment. So here's what we would advise you as you begin to look at this, what you can do to move forward, is start to look at really what that process looks like. Map it out from the time a request is made to the time that it gets into the hands of the requester. How many people touched it? Where did they have to go? How much time elapsed? And then that can help you, after it's mapped out, to look at what is the time this is taking and what are the costs of the people that are involved in this process. And you can begin to quantify what's used, what's wasted, and where these pockets of waste may exist in your supply chain. And then you can then start to look at what opportunity are we maybe losing because we can't get the right materials to the right people at the right time, or even worse, because they were looking at something that wasn't accurate any longer. What sales opportunities being lost. Now, you may not have the staff to do a study or analysis of your current process like that. So you have experts out there like Greg and TGI that can help you actually map that out and look at where your opportunities lie and help you build a plan for saving money, making it easier to drive effective documents through web enablement that help you grow sales and keep your costs in line. All that adds up to profitability, which I think is what we're all shooting for here. So I don't think we have any questions coming in. So Greg or Glenn, do you have any final statements that you'd like to make today?
Well, thank you. Greg?
Thank you.
No, I thank Glenn for joining us, and I think he gave a good representation of the services that we provide. And like you said, Kate, we are here to go through, and we do this all the time. Is we'll see the processes that a customer is going through. Some of the times we say, hey, maybe this isn't the best solution. Maybe there's another solution out there. And we do have a lot of different solutions in the Marcor brand. So there are a number of things beside print. There's promotional products. There's, like I was saying earlier, the HTML distribution, the PDF distribution. It's a big area to go after. So it's not just a print thing. There are a lot of other things that are involved, and Glenn can attest to some of those things.
Yeah, Greg, really, just one last thing. I mean, it was really a painless process with dealing with TGI on this. The help that they did for us with making this a successful program was really great. And it wasn't just from the start. I mean, they're there every day when we have issues or questions with helping us, and it's really been a great partnership and relationship with them on this project.
We appreciate that, Glenn. We try to do the right things.
That's great to hear, and you really can't ask for anything more in your partner. And I always like to end these webinars with a final thought, so I'll leave the great Peter Drucker said, management is doing things right, leadership is doing the right things. So perhaps looking at your supply chain is an opportunity to do the right thing for your company and begin to improve that return on the investment that they're making in their marketing and their marketing collateral specifically. Thanks so much for joining us today. On our screen is Greg's email address. If you have any questions that come up after, please reach out to him and he'll be happy to answer them. And we'll also make a copy of these slides available to our audience today via Greg's follow-up. So thanks so much for joining us today. Please have a great day, and we hope to see you in the future on another TGI webinar.
Thanks so much, everyone.